toward the end. Can you sort of explain that, or?
Most of that dialogue was put in by Darren with Mark Heyman, who came after me. The whole idea of her being a perfectionist, we always wanted her to be, Darren had wanted her to self-mutilate and anorexia. All that stuff is wound up in striving to be a perfectionist, which can be very dangerous, I think, for anyone. I see my son is a perfectionist, and it drives me crazy. Just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think it makes for a very interesting character, and it is hammered home in the dialogue a lot.
Yeah. I noticed also there's a kind of a visual motif about the color red, which I think is, significant, and we see a lot. Is that something that part of one of your thinking, or is that something that the filmmaker himself installed?
No, you're asking me. I'm thinking about it now. I think I did have a lot of red and a lot of. Since a lot of the ballet stuff I put in, I was probably left over, and that might be something, that would be something Darren would talk about with the production designer, and they design that, but they might have, picked that out, because I work with a lot of colors when I'm writing. I get interested in colors.
Any other examples from other pieces of writing where you use color?
No. I can't think of any. I had this one executive, and he was. Sometimes you get executives on scripts, and they micromanage every word in the script, and it's really bad for the process because you start becoming conscious of the words instead of just letting it flow. And I had this scene in a hospital, and the walls were green, and he said, "Well, why are the walls green? Why are the walls green?" And I said, "I don't know why the walls are green." He said, why are they green? Why aren't they white? And I said, "Yeah, I don't know. So the next draft, they were white. And then he said, "Why are they white?" I said, "You told me. Make them white." So that's the only color thing I remember. But there's a lot of orange in the Hitchcock script because he was on this diet where he just ate oranges during Psycho. So we use a lot of orange. Will that end up in a movie? I don't know. That's for the director to decide with the production designer when they're cooking up things.
I see. So, any questions about Black Swan? Sir.
The movies are really afraid to get some over the top at some points, like her legs bending, the whole neck thing at the end. How much of that was really in the script, and how much of that was really just Darren's way of emphasizing the other stuff?
I think that's probably in the script. That wasn't in the script that I did. I was more psychological horror and ballet. And the physical stuff, I was up for the plucking of the feathers, let's say that. But the bending of the legs, I had nothing to do with, but I'm sure it was in the script because I'm sure he just told Mark, to put it in the script. If it wasn't there, because he likes it all there as he's working.
So do you agree, as you described it, that it's over the top?
Yeah, well, the top isn't always a bad thing to be over. It's like it's okay. Different tastes.
Is it better to be under the top, for example?
Outside the box?
Yeah, outside, inside. It doesn't. Now.
How did you said you were responsible for coming up with the Swan Lake story?
Well, for all I know, Darren thought of it 5 years before I started, and I said we should do that, and he said yeah. So, but that's because, as we started our ballet training, and we went to ballets, and I read all about ballets, because it was a story of these was originally going to be, you know, one person hallucinating about themselves. It was the perfect role in ballet that it's a doppelganger role. So it was a natural fit.
Could you restate the questions, please?
Okay, yeah, we can hear it.
Sorry.
Mariah, you have a question?
Yes. Some of the reviews have claimed that I read, like on Rotten Tomatoes or something, that it was a little bit hard to follow, where, you know, like, because she was going in and out of reality, what was reality and what was not. And to me, it seemed like it might have been easier to follow if, like you said, originally it was just supposed to be Natalie Portman, her character, just ×2. Do you think that the addition of the Mila Kunis character created more confusion?
So, you didn't hear that. The question is, did it make the action of the plot development harder to follow that when it was decided that Natalie Portman would not play both parts of herself, but that there'd be another actress? But I guess I'm curious also, do you agree that it's hard to follow?
It's, you know, it's not hard for me to follow because it's like the difference between watching someone do a magic trick and being the person who helps build the magic cabinet. So I kind of know what's going on. I gotta confess, yeah, maybe there's things I don't know what's happening. And it's supposed to be ambiguous. I mean, he always wanted it ambiguous, and I don't know that it would be I think it would be more confusing if it was Natalie Portman playing both roles, because there's always two roles, but she would have been playing both. So it's, you know, it goes back the early days of my involvement. What he wanted was more Twilight Zone-y, I think, where it's, you know, it turns out that other girl has never been there the whole time, and that this is all played out in her head, and maybe even, I think at one point really early on we had that, you know, this older ballerina jumps to her death in the beginning, and then you find out by the end that was Natalie Portman, and you've been seeing her whole story through the movie. But, you know, it's kind of gimmicky, and, you know, he wants, I'm sure he wants to keep it ambiguous.
Yes, in the blue.
About how many drafts did you have to do of the script?
How many drafts? That's the question.
Well, Andres, he sold the script, and he probably did 3 or 4. I did like 6 outlines and 4 drafts, and then I think I read Mark Heyman say he did like 4,000 drafts or something. So, but I'm sure that's all. As you get closer to production, you do a draft a day or something, because you've got to change for location and what you can do and where you can do it. So,
I think, yes, in the back.
I noticed during the movie, Natalie's outfit changed from blonde to gray and silly to black. Whose idea was that, or was that intentional?
yeah. Oh,
I actually didn't hear that. So
I heard it. She said that during the movie, Natalie's outfit changed from white to gray and then to black. Yeah, I'm sure that was intentional. I don't remember something like that's in the script, but I'm sure it's something that Darren worked very hard with the great costume designer that he has. You know, to move you along visually in the story, even if you can't make sense of what's going on.
So I want to talk a little bit now also about the adaptation of this process. It's something that we're studying here. John has adapted The Great Gatsby for the